And we are live. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. We are this is the ATP finals. It's semi-finals day. We're looking forward to Novak Djokovic taking on Taylor Fritz, and they are about to walk out on court. And we are talking tennis. Joined today by Claire, and I'm also joined by Damien. Damien, how are you doing?
Hey, yeah, I'm good. ATP finals semi-final is something I hate to say because it's always, a little clumsy. They should really work out. They should really work out something. I don't know. The Masters was better. Year-end championships, of course. But yeah, excited to do this, of course. Are we starting like with some, predictions or something or?
I mean, if you want to
be later.
No,
I mean we can. Maybe let's give the mic to Claire first, and then we'll.
Yeah, Claire, you're new to talking tennis. Do you want to tell people a bit about yourself? You're here from Murray Musings fame, I believe.
Yeah. So hi. Thanks for having me. I am generally just found in a corner somewhere tweeting or talking about Andy Murray to anyone who'll listen to me, and most people don't listen to me. So this is going to be a new experience for me, where I'll get to commentate on a match that's absolutely in no way related to Andy Murray, but watch me at some point try to bring his name into the chat.
I mean, we're watching Novak Djokovic, right? We're going to have to bring that in, right? He's the next best thing after Andy Murray.
Novak Djokovic, the next best thing after Andy Murray? Yeah, I suppose I would, to a certain extent, I was on court, I would definitely agree with that.
Okay, fair. Let's try and be diplomatic here. Yes, from experience, all I will say, Claire, is from experience of trying to commentate on people I like, is far more stressful than trying to commentate on people who don't. I would imagine if the Murray Musings team covered an Andy Murray match, it would probably be unbroadcastable.
Well, Scott and I did do that once. I can't remember which match it was. Actually, we recorded our podcast as he was playing, and it was extremely stressful. And I would say probably at least 45% of that podcast was just Scott and I going, oh, the whole time. So yeah.
Yeah. So, well, obviously, we're not here to talk about Andy Murray. We're here to talk about the match between Novak Djokovic and Taylor Fritz. Yeah, Damien, how are you seeing these two matching up?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's 5-0 for Djokovic in terms of their head-to-head, which doesn't sound great for Fritz. But then again, 3 times they played on clay, where Fritz is always going to be, the movement has gotten better, but usually it's been very subpar, and that's explainable, of course. There's been that Australian Open match, which, I don't think we can take into consideration either, given Djokovic had that abdominal tear. So it's really not as bad as it sounds. I think if someone is to beat Novak Djokovic in this event, it's gonna be Taylor Fritz rather than Casper Ruud or Andrei Rublev. Now, whether that's going to happen, I'm not sure what to think about how weak Novak looked at times physically yesterday. It's really not a long turnaround from that match to this one. I'm actually kind of I guess Rublev had to get the second semi, so it had to be like that. But yeah, playing for 3 hours yesterday, not looking great physically at the end, and it's actually not even the first time in like recent history that we see Novak struggling physically. He was also kind of down against Rune in the Paris final. I guess that's Fritz's best chance, sort of, which sounds very bleak, I know. But yeah, on these very fast courts in Turin, where everyone is getting to tie breaks, everyone is just holding easily, Novak is able to create a returning pressure that all the other contestants can't really do. And yeah, I'm not sure Fritz can handle that, even though obviously this year he's made so much progress. We've seen the group stage how important the backhand was, that he's not definitely not the American type of player anymore with just a serve and a forehand. The backhand was so important in him prevailing over, two of his opponents and was supposed to be the big aspect in his Ruud match as well, but he just wasn't very gutsy with it at the end. But yeah, still that's probably like the best thing that Fritz has improved this year that can help him in the Djokovic matchup. But it's still not looking great. But I'm excited to see a pretty tight match, probably the tightest they've played so far, not counting that Australian Open one.
Claire, what do you think?
I would agree with that completely. I didn't see all of Djokovic's match yesterday against Medvedev, but from what I did see, he just looked exhausted and he really looked to be struggling. But the thing about Novak Djokovic is you can't write him off ever. So even when he was like that yesterday, I still thought he would pull out the bag and win, which he did, of course, and won with that incredible shot at the end. So I would agree. I think today is probably Taylor Fritz's best opportunity to beat him. But yeah, I don't think he will. I still think Djokovic will pull something out of the bag and do what he has to do, as he generally does.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Novak Djokovic has always looked like he's physically struggled and then been absolutely fine. And even though he's 35 now, I don't see that changing. Like you, Damien, I think Fritz does have limitations in his game that Novak Djokovic can exploit. I think Djokovic is probably going to be rubbing his hands at the semi-final lineup because he's got really good records against everyone involved. Gets through Fritz. He's got Ruud or Rublev in the final, both of whom he probably should feel fairly confident against. So yeah, I'm with you on this. I think we're looking at a Novak win. The question is more how much of a fight Taylor Fritz can make it. And yeah, I agree. I think we're in for an interesting one, given that this is probably the best Taylor Fritz has been going into a match against Novak Djokovic. So we'll have to see. I mean, what have you made of Damien? What have you made of Fritz's progress through the group stages?
I mean, it was a weaker group for sure. I'm not confident that if he landed, for example, he was the 8th seed, right? So he could have landed instead of Djokovic, let's say, in the other group. I'm definitely not confident he would have made it out. But still, yeah, serving has been excellent, of course. It's almost for everyone in Turin. But as I said earlier, I think the backhand has been so important. This was the edge between him and Auger-Aliassime. He actually having a dynamic, aggressive shot from his weaker wing, and Auger-Aliassime just not getting any depth whatsoever on his. Nadal, yeah, I mean he was out of match practice. He was out of rhythm, so that was a pretty clean victory, I think. Even if it's a tiebreak in the opening set, these matches in Turin always have a tiebreak or something. But that's also Fritz's chance today. To just serve out of his mind, which he's certainly capable of doing. And yeah, in that Ruud one, I certainly thought he was the favorite. And it was a little disappointing to see him just not have the confidence to go for his shots when it mattered, while Ruud did. There was this funny comparison because I also actually did commentary for this channel on that match. And there was this in the graphics with stats after the match, there was a comparison of their speeds on their ground strokes, and like the forehand, it's pretty much the same, like 1-2 kilometer, probably up for Fritz, but something like that. And on the backhand, it's just such a big edge between him and Ruud, and yet in the most important moments, it was always Ruud breaking these patterns, going down the line. Fritz was always stunned, just couldn't really get anything going on defending on the run with the forehand. So in the mental sense, that's what I didn't really enjoy about Fritz's group stage. But otherwise, it's just another proof, just another piece of evidence, just another proof that he's done so much improvement this year, and that he is really now among the elite.
Yeah, that's for sure. I think he can be very positive about this result, as he has been with other results as well. Well, the match is getting underway, and Taylor Fritz, speaking of, is serving first, and he puts his first serve into the net. It's always a bit nervy on that first point of a match. Second serve. Here we go. Body touch Djokovic, backhand in play. Backhand to Taylor Fritz. Djokovic goes to the forehand. Fritz then hits his own forehand. Backhand Fritz. But he looks like he's apologising for saying maybe some kind of let cord. He's won the point though, as Djokovic had put that previous shot long. So good start for. Oh, wait, that's wrong. So it's love 15. I don't know what's going on. Their scores are broken. So if their scores are broken, we have no hope here. So next point underway. Forehand. Fritz finishes at the net. Good, efficient, aggressive play. Great start. Yeah. Claire, thoughts on how close do you think Taylor Fritz can make this?
Do you know what? I think it depends on how this first set goes. I think if Taylor can take the first set to a tie-break, we might look at a 3-set match. If he can, if he can hold his serve, if he can push Djokovic all the way. I think if he gets broken early, we're looking at Novak running away with it. And I think it could be 2 sets if Novak takes a relatively straightforward first set. And I kind of hope that doesn't happen. I would like to see 3 sets of tennis between these guys today. So I'm really hoping that Fritz is able to take him on and give him his absolute best game. Can I just check where you guys are on the score? Because I think I was slightly ahead and then I paused and now I might be slightly behind. So Fritz is at 30-15. Sorry, Djokovic it's 15-30 for me just now.
That's what I've got. We're in the middle of a rally. Fritz on the forehand, Djokovic the backhand, moving Fritz around, backhand up the line, Fritz, forehand, cross-court, Djokovic, that's wide, and Djokovic looks annoyed with himself. It's 30-all. That was a prime opportunity to set a break point. He put the forehand wide. Yep. Damien, where are you at?
That point is finished for me, but I'm not using Tennis TV, so it will be a few seconds behind, but that's fine.
I'm using Amazon Prime, so
or that. I mean,
Oh, big set from Taylor Fritz, take it to 40-30. That's going to give him some confidence, given that Djokovic was having a look at him in this game. But let's see if he can close it out. Fritz bouncing the ball, and he goes out wide to the Djokovic backhand. Djokovic gets it back in because he's a great returner, and Fritz's backhand goes wide. He's yelling at himself because that was a nasty angle, but it was a makeable backhand, and he's still at deuce in his opening service game. I agree with you, Claire. I think if Djokovic goes an early breakup, I think Fritz is going to have trouble getting back into this. Fritz puts that first serve into the net. I'm going to keep talking whilst there's play, and then I'll probably come to you with a question about Djokovic. Backhand in play from Djokovic, backhand Fritz, slice from Djokovic, Fritz on the forehand inside out, backhand slice Djokovic, Fritz again going up the line with the forehand. Djokovic runs for it, lifts it up, somehow gets it in. Fritz on the forehand inside out, but then there was a call of out, a late call. Djokovic stops because he thought that was in, but it's advantage to Taylor Fritz. Usually you can work out what's going on if you don't have any sound, but occasionally it does mean that you'll get the occasional slip up from someone who thinks you can try and live commentate as if it's the radio. But fortunately, getting this one right. So advantage Taylor Fritz. Let's see if you can see this game. It goes out wide with a serve. He thinks it's an ace. Djokovic is challenged. No one knows what's going on. No, Djokovic has left it. We're all good. It's the end of the first game. Damien Fritz got himself out of trouble there.
Sorry?
Fritz got himself out of trouble there, didn't he?
I didn't understand. Yeah, there's already quite a lot of play after his serve, which he's not gonna be happy to see, that's for sure. But it's just the first game. Maybe he'll find a better serving rhythm. I mean, I guess one of the most important things for him today is to hit a lot of first serves, but to hit them while not actually taking any speed off. Which it gets tricky. I think for the season, Fritz is at about 61% first serves in. Of course, that doesn't really include that whether he was actually trying to hit them more or going huge. But of course, usually he's just trying to have this first serve as best. He did it as best as he can.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, Damien. Claire, do you think there's going to be any physical issues for Djokovic this match, or are we reading too much into everything that happened with him yesterday?
I don't know. I mean, I think we could be reading too much into it. I mean, it could simply be that he hadn't had enough to eat, and he was, he had a low blood sugar, because he looked like he was shaking at one point, and I saw a few people say perhaps he hadn't eaten properly. He does seem like the kind of guy who wouldn't mess up his nutrition before a match. Like he knows what he's doing. He's a professional athlete, but he might have just had one of those days. I tend not to worry too much about Djokovic's physicality. It's got him this far. I don't have many concerns over today's match, to be honest. So far he looks absolutely fine, but obviously we're only into the second game, so time will tell. I still don't think Fritz can outlast him, even if he is a little bit shaky, because he's proven himself time and time again that he can do it, even if he's got an arm falling off. So I think Novak will have this one, and he's already 40 love up on his serve. So, yeah,
I mean, do you want to? I was going to say he's 40 love up. He seems to be holding pretty comfortably this game. I mean, has it been all his way? Has he been, as Fritz goes wide on a forehand? That's a comfortable hold from Novak. That's going to be the kind of start that he's wanted. Damien, do you have any thoughts on Djokovic's physical state?
I mean, the matches usually don't go long here, or even if they go long in terms of games, then they aren't long in terms of the time. Unless Daniil Medvedev is in the equation, then they get extremely draining, like the one Djokovic had yesterday. But yeah, I mean, if the flow of the play is similar as we've seen most of the week, then it shouldn't be that big an issue. And of course, as Claire said, I mean, it's hard to find a tennis player who, even at Novak's age, is actually, better prepared physically.
That is very true. I think Djokovic is definitely the ultimate physical specimen in tennis. I think even compared to the other two members of the big three, his fitness and physicality is Rafa's a very different beast to Novak. He's physical in a very different way. Djokovic feels like you can outlast everything.
It's hard to compare them, really, Rafa and Novak, in terms of physicality, because, like you say, they're so different. Like Rafa's he's strong and muscular, and he's very well built. He's a bit like a wall trying to break through, whereas Djokovic has got the flexibility that so many players don't have, and we've seen him do the splits on court, which Rafa certainly couldn't do. So you can't. I find it very hard to compare when people talk about the physicality of Djokovic versus Nadal. They're so different, and it's the same with Federer. I would say Federer is more similar to Djokovic in terms of their physicality because of their body shape. But even then, he certainly doesn't anymore. He didn't have the flexibility that I think Djokovic has always had.
Yeah, that is very true. Federer's not really known for being flexible. He just sort of floated his way to everything.
Yeah, he's like a ballerina.
Very unique. It's very, go on, Damien.
No, I was just going to say that because of, the way he played tennis, people always thought that physically he doesn't really compare to the other two. And I think for the most part in their careers, it wasn't really true. Up until he was probably 35, you never really saw him tired. Perhaps it was because he was good at just being efficient, and that work rate was optimized better than for other players. But yeah, I think fitness-wise, in their prime, they were all very much different. That they weren't comparable to each other, but comparable in terms of just being better than the rest of the tour, even in that aspect.
Yeah, I think comparable in their endurance, without a doubt, because all three of them could just go and go for hours. And like you say about Federer, he never looked tired. He never even seemed to break a sweat. Whereas we've seen Djokovic wring his t-shirt out after a match, and it comes out like it's been in the washing machine. So yeah, in terms of the endurance, they're very much comparable.
And Rafa will just sweat, just doing nothing. Let's be honest. He'll sit, sweat to go change. By the way, Taylor Fritz managed to hold to 30. He got a little bit of a sticky situation in that service game, but he always managed to keep himself ahead. But yeah, definitely, it's now 2-1 to Taylor Fritz on this change of ends. Apologies if the scores are a bit slow updating today. But we'll keep you informed as to what's actually going on. But so far, yeah, Taylor Fritz is doing a good job of keeping himself in this, but he's definitely working the harder of the two players right now.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, Djokovic didn't have much to do in his first game at all. 40 love, not a problem. Djokovic is getting more returns in on Fritz's serve, so he's certainly making Taylor work a bit harder.
Yeah, and in this stage of Novak's career, it's actually like he's miles better in faster conditions than in slower ones, which wasn't really the case in the past. I mean, it was definitely much closer. Right now, it's gotten much different, and I think the way he's just not allowing the opponents to push him off the baseline, the way he's just able to mostly counter punch, but also hit very aggressively and still take time away is just this is the type of pressure that no one on tour really is able to achieve, and that's still making him at 36, 35, 36. I never get birthdays right. I think it's 35, right?
Yeah, he's 35.
Yeah, 35. Still makes him so successful, of course.
Yeah. I mean, something I kind of looked at recently, so I like to look at these kind of things, is sort of patterns in when like people win slams. And if you were to imagine that like the calendar year started on their birthday, Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal both won the fourth slam held in the calendar year after turning 35. Rafa being Australia earlier this year, and Federer winning Wimbledon in 2017, and also Australia in 2017, which is good boding for Novak Djokovic, because Australia in 2023 is going to be the fourth slam held after he turned 35. And he loves that place. So yeah, I don't think Djokovic is going anywhere for a very long time. Certainly if you see sort of Federer's career and how that's panned out.
Oh, that's actually quite an interesting point to make. And I mean, yeah, it would be, obviously I keep telling myself that eventually one of these days Andy Murray will win the Australian Open, but in reality I suspect very much that it's going to be Novak Djokovic next year, coming back to reclaim his trophy. Now that has it been confirmed officially that he's allowed to play? I know I saw it on a lot of the news outlets, but I've not seen.
I think it has been kind of confirmed to the media by the Australian government. They haven't released a statement, but pretty much every individual media source is reporting that he's playing. Djokovic
he can fly into Australia, right? I mean, there are no regulations right now, so if he can fly into Australia and like not have any quarantines or vaccination proof, then he can play. Like, there's nothing that the government can do really in that case.
Pretty much.
It's all about the border.
Yeah, I think the issue with Novak was the fact that he'd had a visa rejected, and the Australian rules were around that meant because of a visa rejection, he wouldn't be allowed to play, or not allowed to enter the country for another 3 years. And that's the way that situation was that they were allowed to give him a new visa before that 3-year ban was up.
Right.
But by the way, it's 40-30 on Djokovic's serve. He was at 40-15. But Fritz putting him with a little bit of pressure on that point before hitting a forehand winner. Very nice
Yep.
forehand inside that
A
winner.
beautiful forehand there.
Yeah. So let's see. So this is probably Djokovic's first sort of challenge Djokovic has had in this match on his serve. But that was a really good serve from Fritz, kind of scrambled to get that back. Djokovic in control of the point. He's at the net. Fritz puts that ball bounces before it even reaches the net because Djokovic is just too good with the forehand, forces the error, and it's 2 games all. I can't show it on the screen at the minute, but Ashley's asking if we think Holger Rune wins the Australian Open next year. Probably not. I think he could. He's good enough, but I think Novak Djokovic is the heavy favourite. He rules in Australia, and I think if he's playing and he's fit, he's winning it.
I also think over the years, with so many times it's been proven that a slam is just, it's so different. It's a different kettle of fish, and it doesn't matter how well players are performing in Masters and 500s. The slam's a different kind of pressure for them, I think. And so I wouldn't be placing any bets on Holger Rune winning the Australian Open next year.
Yeah, it's probably a little too early. I mean, the draw would have to open up. He's like, I don't know, in the top 10, 15 contenders probably, but I wouldn't have him in the top 5. Although I will say that I definitely started thinking that maybe in the long run, in the biggest events, clay might be less successful for Rune than faster surfaces, and yeah, maybe because a few years back he said that he was gonna break Nadal's record of most French Open titles won. I think he has a better chance at one of the hardcore slams of holding the record. Probably the US Open, because there it's not really that competitive, right? How many is the record now? Like 5 in the Open era at least. I think 7 maybe in the all time. So yeah.
Just to interrupt, Damien, we're into an interesting point here because we got into a long forehand rally where Fritz has gone long, and it's love 40 on the Taylor Fritz serve at 2 games all. Djokovic is looking primed. He's looking ready. He's definitely looking absolutely fine. Don't see any physical issues whatsoever. He's handling everything Taylor Fritz is throwing at him, and he's just outlasting him right now, even able to out-hit him. So let's see if Djokovic can claim any of these break points that have come up. The Fritz serves up wide, but it's long. So second serve, not what he wants right now at all. We'll have to see how it goes. Backhand Fritz looped up. Backhand Djokovic. Djokovic is just going backhand to backhand. Now he slices it. Backhand Fritz. Backhand Djokovic. They're still going cross court to cross court. No one's really varying it up. Djokovic is putting some slices in there just to try and make Fritz a bit trickier, but they're just hitting to each other. Backhand. Djokovic goes chase direction, goes up the line. Then he goes up the line with forehand. Fritz is now on the backhand. Djokovic goes across court. Fritz can't do anything about it, and it's now a break to Djokovic. 3-2. Job done. Fritz is swiping the ground with his racket, frustration, but that was just too good from Novak Djokovic. Just so patient, pulling the trigger when ready. Really impressive stuff.
Yeah, and that's the early break, early-ish break that I think could turn the set for Djokovic now, and
match effectively.
Turn the match. Yeah, if this gives Djokovic the boost and the confidence, and it'll set Taylor back. If he's frustrated, he might start to make some mistakes. We could be looking at this set being over fairly quickly.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is really not looking great for Fritz. I'm not saying unfortunately. I'm uber neutral, but in terms of our viewing enjoyment, so many rallies again on Fritz's serve. Like he gets nothing for free so far. Of course, not nothing, but definitely not enough. And Djokovic is able to no one in the whole event can really return as well as Novak, of course, perhaps no one in history, and it really shows that and for Fritz in the group stage, he was holding so easily against everyone, even against Ruud. I think there was one break in the entire match which he lost in the deciding set tiebreak. I mean, one break each, but one break on the Fritz serve. I don't think he was broken against Nadal, and I don't think he was broken against Felix either. So already we can see that this match is going to be very different.
Yeah. Maybe a bit more like the Rublev match that Djokovic had in the group stages, where Rublev put up a decent fight, but there wasn't anything that Rublev could really do about it, and just sort of faded towards the end. We've got the Novak fans in the chat already, and well, you should be celebrating because at the minute he's just looking absolutely imperious right now. He's serving. He's kind of rallying with Taylor Fritz. He puts a forehand long, but it's nothing too much to worry about right now. I'd say he's very much in control of the match. But hey, commentators curse. Hope not. I agree. I don't really know what Fritz has got to throw at him unless he serves unbelievably well.
Yeah, just unreturnable serving, and it's like Damien said, Djokovic is probably one of the best, if not the best, returner the game has seen. So it's so hard to serve bot Djokovic.
Someone said that Fritz's first serve percentage was 80% against Felix. I don't think that's true. I mean, checking it now, it's 62. Again, very close to his average for the year. And right now it's also at about 60 after these 3 games. So yeah, not sure what he could improve there, because of course, if he wants to get the percentage up, it's going to require going slower, hitting to less, hitting some more obvious targets. Maybe don't focus on the placement that much, and then he's not going to be able to win so many points behind it. So it's really a very tough ask to start doing something different in that regard.
That being said, we're now at 15-30, which is odd given what we were all saying. Djokovic goes out wide on the serve. Fritz puts the forehand cross court net. Claire, you were probably paying attention a bit more than I was. How did Djokovic end up at 15-30?
He hit the ball wide, and I'm actually a little bit ahead of you now. But okay. So that point's well past for me. But yeah, he I think it was a forehand he hit wide. Bit disappointed with himself. But yeah, are you at 30 all yet?
Yeah, we're at 30 all. Yeah, we're in a rally at the minute. Backhand to backhand. Fritz goes up the line with a forehand. Djokovic tries to go back behind him with the forehand, puts it in the net, and it's 30-40.
Break point.
Okay.
So this could be interesting.
This is a bit of a dip from Djokovic. Suddenly, just throwing him some unforced errors. Quite uncharacteristic, really. I mean, every player throws in unforced errors, but maybe we hold Djokovic to a higher standard. But even so, someone like Djokovic, in the way they play matches, doesn't usually throw in a loose game straight after breaking. Usually major going ahead. Anyway, Djokovic tries to go out wide with the first serve and misses it. So that's not going to help matters very much. So Fritz has got a second serve to look at. Nerves are going to be high because it's going to be opportunity to get back on terms with Novak Djokovic. It's currently 3-2 to Djokovic. At the minute, we are, let's have a look, second serve up the middle. Fritz gets it, but I think that was a let on the second serve.
Yeah, it was a let, yeah.
Have you got sound on, Claire?
No.
Okay, that's fairly obvious. It was right in the middle of the box, so the fact they backed off suggests it was a let. So Djokovic goes to body serve for that second serve. Backhand cross court up the middle. Fritz slice from Djokovic. Fritz goes cross court on the backhand. Backhand Djokovic cross court wide, very wide, and we're back on serve. 3-3.
I'm going to pause just for a second. Nick, let me know when Fritz serves on your screen so that I can be back on as level as possible with you.
I mean, it's okay if you're ahead. It doesn't matter, unless it's annoying for you. Unless, like, I'm happy for you to take control of the point by point if you.
No, I would rather not. I would rather not do that. I just don't want to make any faces and give things away.
No, it's probably with Isabel before. It's quite fun seeing someone react first. So don't worry about it.
Trying to practice my tennis poker face.
No, it's fine. We're talking tennis. We're supposed to get excited here. We've got backhand to backhand rally going on right now. Backhand Djokovic, backhand Fritz, backhand Djokovic are going cross court. A lot of cross court backhands. Djokovic going slice up to the Fritz forehand this time. Now trying to move Fritz around. He's done very well to try to take control and stop moving Fritz with the forehand, changing direction going right. But Fritz goes long on the backhand, and it's love 15, trying to go up the line.
I'm just going back to that last game. That was an unusual loss of serve from Djokovic there. Because I don't even think Fritz particularly upped his game in that game to try to break back. It just seemed to be that Djokovic went flat for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, that's true. That's my read of it. Damien, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, it was just a couple of errors in I don't know, in 6 points or something like that, right? When it comes to the whole match, I think it's still like 12 to 5 when it comes to unforced errors in favor of Fritz, but of course not in favor really. And it doesn't really feel like from the baseline Fritz is even risking that much more, honestly, than Djokovic. So. I guess when you look at the whole 28 minutes, you still get pretty much what you expect, and it's now a double fault from Fritz to go down 0-30. But I think that's also it shows the pressure that he's had on his second serve so far, because I think he's winning like 10% of his points there. So
he's gone wide serving up the middle, so that's not gonna help him. Fritz goes on the forehand, backhand Djokovic, backhand Fritz cross court. Again, we're going to another backhand cross court rally because that's safe. Djokovic is going to tack that backhand and get ready to take control of the point. He's slicing it as well. Fritz gets that one on his forehand though. Djokovic tries to go up the line on the backhand and puts it in the tram lines. He was a bit off balance trying to go for that one, as there's Yelena in the crowd. That was Djokovic just pulling the trigger a little bit too much on that backhand, in a play that's kind of worked well for him so far this match, though.
It bounced very high, so it was pretty uncomfortable, to be fair.
Fritz serves an ace to get it back to 30 all in this game. That's going to make him a little bit more comfortable. Apologies if you're hoping to see the score up. We're just having a little bit of technical issues with that. We'll try and make sure we say as much as possible what the score is. Fritz serves another ace to make it 40-30 and 3 all. So I think Fritz is going to be... Fritz hasn't been comfortable on serve at all, and that's mostly down to Djokovic a little bit. Fritz putting it into the net on the first serve. Up the middle, back forehand Djokovic goes long, and it's game to Fritz, 4-3. There's definitely a lot of love for Taylor Fritz going on in the chat. I don't know whether it's because it's there's people supporting the underdog in this lineup. Maybe there's some people who people just don't like Djokovic, which we know those people do exist. Maybe it's just wanting something competitive. But
everyone wants to see a match, right? I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. We definitely want to see it competitive.
Unless we have one of our favorites playing, we all want to see a good match. We don't want to be finishing this in half an hour with a 6-4, 6-2 Novak, and
I think Novak's looking a little bit frustrated right now. He was shouting at his box there. He's maybe wondering what happens. I mean, this set could have been finished, by now if he tailed the serve, or he could be getting ready to serve for it. I certainly didn't anticipate Fritz breaking back and then holding his serve again. So, but I'm happy to see it. I'm happy to see it, and hopefully we'll now go to quite like to see this set going to a tie break now.
Yeah, it's definitely competitive. I mean, I still think if it goes to a tie break, Fritz is good. No, Djokovic is going to win that tie break. I feel like he's just that little bit more solid. I think Fritz is a little bit more uncomfortable in this match. We do have Ghibli is a Djokovic fan, but he wants to be competitive. So That's a completely valid point. I kind of see where you're coming from, but I think if I love someone enough, they're just more than a certain amount, like you don't want it to be competitive. Claire, you want
it over quickly, stress free.
Yeah. Damien, who are you?
Honestly, I'm really like I was a Federer fan back in the day for sure, but right now, yeah, I've gotten very neutral. Like I just want to see the match. I want to see the story. I always root for the underdogs, for the whoever will make the most interesting storyline. Again, yeah, that's mostly what I'm going for. Of course, I have some favorites. Some players I enjoy watching more than the others, but usually it's really only about that, like just aesthetically pleasing, who I find aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I also tend to support the Polish players, but more than the stars like Świątek or Hurkacz, rather the guys in the ITFs and the challengers. That's more, yeah. I don't know. I just feel more connected to them.
It wouldn't be you if you weren't supporting the Polish players on the Challenger Tour, right? That's the ultimate Damien statement, really. I'm kind of similar to you. I prefer seeing the interesting story, especially in the ATP now. Federer's retired. Don't get me wrong, still have a little bit of soft spot for Andy Murray, but I think I'm going to be quite neutral on the ATP going forward. WTA, very similar. I mean, I am an Iga Świątek fan, but there's enough interesting other players out there that I also like that I am more than happy to see win, but will be biased if Iga is playing. So actually, we're probably not that far off each other. Maybe I should just move to Poland.
Where do you live?
Oh, I live in the UK.
In the UK? In the UK.
I live in the UK. I live near Stoke-on-Trent.
That's not a common like migration trend to go from the UK to Poland. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, it does happen. I do know some people who have. I don't really know anyone who's done it, but like I know people who've thought about it. It's currently 40-30 in the match, by the way. 3-4, Djokovic serving. Djokovic was shrugging just now. I was caught up in the conversation, Claire. What's just happened?
I think he just hit the ball. I think he just hit the ball wide. Like it just. He couldn't seem to get a grip on that final shot in the rally there. It looked like it was going well, but anyway, Fritz just hit the ball into the net now, so that's them 4 each. 4 all. I'm sorry, I was a bit distracted by Djokovic's little daughter there who's sitting doing her colouring in. While Daddy's playing tennis. She's got like her little book and they were handing pencils to her. I got a bit distracted by that.
She's probably playing a little bit young to really fully pay attention to what's going on. She'll pay attention when Mummy says that Daddy's winning. Damien, do you want to answer Ashley's question?
Okay. Yeah, Łukasz Kubot. I mean, he's still playing. Of course, he was in the Helsinki Challenger this week, lost in the quarterfinals along with Valkov. He was injured at the beginning of the year, then came back in March, but has just been a shadow of his former self. I think he's gonna wrap it up. He's not really like a huge media person, so it's hard to find any info on that. He very rarely does any interviews, but the way the way he's scheduling himself, I think it's a bit of a farewell tour. Like I fully expect him to just stop playing next year after a couple of appearances, maybe playing Poland again, because I think outside of Davis Cup he hasn't done that this year, and the like league matches, but not in any Polish event. But yeah, he's just fallen to like 300 or 400 in the doubles rankings right now, and I think at this stage of his career, there's just not, he's not coming back from this. Since Melo, he hasn't had like a solid partner for more than a couple of months, and even with Melo, I think in the last years when they played together, he was sort of dragging the Brazilian down. So yeah, I think it's the beginning of an end, but obviously what a career. Doubles number 1, 2 Grand Slams. Had a lot of fun watching him for sure, and in singles as well, number 41, and certainly very, very fun to watch as well.
How old is he now?
Like 41, something like that, probably.
Yeah, nearing the end even for doubles.
40.
Also,
Yeah, he's 40. Yeah. There are players in doubles who do well at that age for sure, but it's gonna be a struggle because it's like a very long way back from where he is right now. Like after the protected rankings run out, it's just gonna be rough. He's 309 in the doubles rankings right now and has an 821 win-loss record for the year. So yeah, that's why I'm saying it's probably like a farewell tour more than an actual comeback effort.
makes sense. Maybe he'll play Wimbledon because he's had some of his most significant results there. Speaking of nearing the end, we're nearing the end of this set. It's 40-30, 4-all on the Fritz serve. Djokovic goes long trying to slice a backhand after a bit of a rally. Again, Fritz halting to 30. Claire, was that an uncomfortable serve, or was it just a couple of lapses?
Yeah, I don't think he looked particularly uncomfortable there. Although he's shouting at his box right now, so I don't know if he is feeling there's a problem. But I thought he looked okay there. Djokovic didn't return as well there as he had done in the rest of the set, so it didn't look to be too much of a tricky hold in the end there for Fritz. I do think we're going to get the tiebreak. That
Djokovic is slicing a lot, which is somewhat surprising. I mean, I haven't really seen him do much with that shot yet. Like Fritz is not really missing the backhands that he's getting after the slice.
But he's not. Yeah. He's not totally. Doesn't seem to be totally comfortable with the slice, does he?
Yeah, and it's definitely like a conscious effort. He's slicing more than he's usually doing it, and definitely trying to direct it at the Fritz backhand. I don't know. Maybe he'll step away from it as the match goes on. Yeah, and he's not totally comfortable with the slice. Of course, it's a pretty good shot for him, but it's not like top 10 level slice in the world.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like Djokovic can slice, and like the rest of his game, he executes it really, really well. But it's not something that you necessarily think of him for, especially with how effective he is on pretty much any shot on that backhand. He can hit through pretty much anything. I mean, if you were trying to come up with a game plan against Taylor Fritz, would you be suggesting using the slice, Damien?
I mean, tough call. I think the backhand is probably too solid to break down this way, but it's worth a shot. It certainly hasn't really brought him any, like outside of that last point in the 4-4 game, maybe. It hasn't really brought any misery to Djokovic using the slice. It's more like it hasn't really had the effects that I think was desired, but he's also not losing these rallies. But there were a couple of points. I can't remember which one it was, but they were engaged in like a backhand cross-court rally, and Djokovic's ball just had so much more on it. He was getting it very deep, and then played a slice that just landed at the middle, and it allowed. I think that was the point at 0-30 actually at 3-3. When later Djokovic had that backhand error. He sort of, he didn't place the slice well enough, and it allowed Fritz to break out of a pattern that seemed to be going like very heavily in Djokovic's favor. So I think, he's overusing it a bit for now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, let's see. That's an interesting point. Let's see how it goes. I mean, certainly he's using it to try and disrupt. I don't think he's trying to use it to win the point, but he's trying to use it to force errors or kind of force Fritz to comfortably hit back to the backhand, so give him an opportunity to take control. Djokovic is in control of this game at the moment. It's 40-love at 4-5 as he goes out wide but misses that first serve. We're definitely in the business end of the set. It's going to be pretty tight. I think we'll just focus on the game and the match at hand now. I know there are a couple of interesting comments I put on the screen from Ashley, but I think we'll maybe come back to this a little bit later if we've got time. Unreturnable stuff from Novak Djokovic. Game 5-all. How do we think this is going to be another halt to 30 for Taylor? Is it going to be bet? Is it going to be juice? Is it going to be Claire? How do you think this next game is going to go?
I think it could go to juice. I think it could. I mean, I think Novak would prefer to end this set without a tiebreak. I think he'd like to try and get a break here, finish it up 7-5. So yeah, let's say it's going to go to deuce.
Okay.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that Novak will actually get the break, but let's say it's going to go to deuce at least.
Okay, so we're predicting a Fritz hold, but maybe to deuce from Claire. Yeah, I think it's probably going to be another. Let's see. Well, we've got a rally here going on. It's a pretty good rally as well. We're sort of moving each other around the court a fair bit, but now it's dissolved into backhand to backhand. Djokovic uses the forehand. Fritz tries to go cross court on the forehand. Djokovic reaches it, gets his own forehand, gets the neutral. Fritz hits a forehand winner. Yeah, I think he's probably holding this one.
That was a great shot from Fritz there. Right on the line.
After the first point, it's not really a prediction anymore, because your chances have increased so much. It's like 25%, I think, the difference between your chances of holding after winning the first point compared to after losing the first point. So.
That's the problem with tennis. You have to predict really quickly, otherwise you then just look like you're cheating.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, still predicting like that. I mean, when someone asks you like, "How is this next game gonna go?" This is just guesswork. Like,
yeah,
you don't actually have any idea. It's just a gut feeling, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I am absolutely appalling at making predictions. Absolutely appalling. So.
I know you did well. It's definitely harder to predict a game than it is to predict a match.
Yeah, true.
Because like games can have this weird microcosm, like weird sort of mini.
Sample size is so small. I mean, you just get 4, 5, 6, 7 points, and it's just impossible. I mean, if someone is telling me that like he's predicting the next game, I mean, I know it's just it means nothing. It's basically meaningless. Even if he's right, yeah.
I'm potentially already looking like an idiot because it's 15:30 as Taylor Fritz puts an inside-out forehand long over the baseline.
19 unforced errors in this match so far for Taylor.
19?
Yeah, compared to Djokovic's 9.
I mean,
but then, he just followed that up there with an excellent serve, so...
that's where Fritz is basically getting anything on his serve. When he gets into a rally, Djokovic is winning more of those. Fritz is the one breaking down. I think that unforced error count, I tell you, we thought, I mean, it's not a surprise that Djokovic is fast appearing in the unforced error count. What an ace!
That's very generous, I think, like from the statistician who was counting this, because the one at 15:30, or the one at 15:15 rather, I wouldn't count it as an unforced. I think it was the depth of the return that made it tough for Fritz to get it back. I mean, 19 errors out of like 61 or 2 points. Is it really what we've been saying? I think the stats guy is on crack, actually.
Okay, so you say you could do a better job. All right, let's go. David Kust is our official stats guy.
Start making notes, Damien. Start doing tally marks.
Sometimes it is actually very tough, I think, like just trying to realize which error is forced or unforced. And I'm pretty sure that one was debatable, but I just don't think I've been watching a match where Taylor Fritz is hitting an unforced error like every 3 points. I don't think that's been happening. But I did try to go over that 2007 Australian Open semifinal between Gonzalez and Haas once, because Fernando Gonzalez, it's a bit of a legend that he hit 3 unforced errors there. And I definitely counted like at least 5. But I also found a couple which I was totally unsure about. So, no, I mean, it's a pretty tough job. But at different events, we definitely see that, some statisticians are very likely to assign unforced errors to, I don't know, shots that, were actually played under some immense pressure from the opponent's ball, and some are just very reluctant, and then we'll get 40 winners, 20 errors in every match. It's a bit of a preference, and yeah, I just don't think Fritz has hit 20 unforced errors so far.
19.
Yeah,
19.
19.
But,
come on.
Yeah.
No, but I would agree. It does seem like quite a high number.
It's like almost one error per 3 points. That hasn't been happening. No.
Yeah, you almost have to. You have to really. You have to really look at the context of the point, and sometimes, there are these borderline ones where, like, that was a really good shot, and you couldn't do much with it. But at the same time, you probably could have done something, and you have to make that judgment call. I think it probably evens itself out maybe over the course of a match. I don't know, but yeah, I think regardless of the exact number, Djokovic has definitely been more solid than Fritz. We would say he serves his first ace of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Which is to be expected. Again, like that's how Djokovic plays. That's what he's known for. As he's going into body serve for Fritz in second serve, Fritz gets that backhand back into play, backhand to backhand rally again, still going backhand to backhand. Fritz tries to change that, goes inside out on the forehand, puts Djokovic on the slide, then tries to change direction on the backhand. Forehand Fritz just trying to attack as much as he can. He's going to the Djokovic forehand, backhand Djokovic cross court. Fritz is now having to almost run out of court. Djokovic has to come in because it was a really short ball from Fritz. Fritz lets it over. Backhand volley, Djokovic out the air. Tim Henman-esque. Job done. 30 love.
Tim Henman-esque. I love it.
Tim Henman-esque. Yeah.
I think you mean.
He was a little like steady, hitting that. He was just, the legs were just not, the knees weren't bent at all. I don't think that was really Tim Henman-esque.
Who are you saying, Claire?
I said, I think you'll find if you say Tim Henman-esque, it must be goat-esque. If it's talking about Tim Henman, come on.
Yeah. Oh, what backhand winner
for Fritz. From Fritz.
I always go for like that when it's a high volley, it's always behind the player. It's always Tim Henman always comes to mind because I remember when I was being coached as a teenager and I attempted that shot and it went horribly wrong because I am not as gifted a tennis player anywhere as near as a pro or even a club player. And my coach just said to me, only Tim Henman can hit that shot.
Yeah, just the GOAT doing GOAT things.
Yeah. One of the best players to play at Wimbledon, right?
Absolutely.
40-15. Shout out in the chat if you remember Tim Henman. I remember when I was growing up, which would have been like early 2000s, so I would have been primary school, and Henman, Rosetsky and Sampras were the only men's players I knew.
The only ones.
Sorry, what?
The only ones.
The only ones I could remember.
You could remember. Okay. So
nowadays, people only know the big three.
I was 7.
I was going to say you must have been quite young. What age were you when Goran Ivanisevic went on his journeyman?
I was 7.
Wimbledon.
I was 7 years old.
7. Wow. Wow. I was 16.
Oh,
I was 2.
Oh my God. This is awful chat.
To be fair, Claire, no one would realise that there is that age gap.
I mean, thank you, Nick. You're very charming.
10 on the time for talking tennis. It's a tie-break now, by the way. And Fritz won the opening point on a serve. Djokovic goes for the body serve on first serve, gets it in, has the advantage in the rally, goes up the line with a forehand. Fritz is scrambling to get it back in play, which he does. Forehand again, Djokovic has Fritz on the stretch, and that's gone out. Forced error from Fritz, 1-1. Into a first set tie-break. We thinking Djokovic is winning this one?
Well, yeah, I think so. I do find it hard to see past Djokovic in a tie-break, to be honest. Fritz has got better throughout the set, so it might not be. If you'd asked me early on and said it's going to go to a tie-break, what would your prediction be for the tie-break? I probably would have said, like 6-1, 6-2 to Djokovic. But 7-1, 7-2 to Djokovic. But having watched it, the set so far, and Fritz has upped his game, it could be a close tie-break here. I don't think Djokovic's going to run away with it anyway.
Probably not. It doesn't look like he's running away from it because Fritz has just dictated that and finishes it off with a nice volley at the net, 2-2. Damien, would you agree with that assessment?
Before the end of the, before the match started, I probably would have said that Djokovic was going to be a big favorite in the tiebreak. Right now, I'm definitely not so sure anymore. I think 7-1, 7-2 is quite harsh. It's actually kind of tough to lose a tiebreak like that, I guess. Most of the time, at least.
But it has happened.
I mean, of course, 7-0s happen all the time. No, all the time. That's a stretch. But yeah. It has happened, but before with Fritz's serve, he should be able to get like a couple of 3 points. And yeah, the way he's been playing in the latter half of the set, after Djokovic sort of let him back into it, has been very reassuring.
Fritz has just given away a mini break there, though. He's gone long with a forehand, and it's 3-2 to Djokovic, and it's now on the Serbs' serve. So. Djokovic possibly in control, but it's hard to stay in control of a tiebreak. Again, very small sample size of points, can go either way very easily. But Fritz definitely annoyed with himself there. I mean, he's doing his best though, right? I mean, yeah, he's breaking down more than Novak, but you would expect that from most players. I mean, how are you rating Taylor Fritz's performance so far, Damien?
I mean, this rally had like, I don't know, 25 shots probably. I'm not going to complain about him hitting an unforced error. And he didn't like really hit an unforced error. I mean, it counts as an unforced error, of course, but he shanked it a bit. I'm definitely not complaining about anything in Fritz's game so far. He feels like the one that in the baseline, in these longer baseline rallies, he is the one that's trying to risk more. And that's both good and bad for him because, Djokovic is just able to use that flexibility again, like in the last point, and just play off Fritz's pace a bit. But we knew that this match is going to look like that. Fritz knew that this match is going to look like that, and so did Djokovic.
As Djokovic just put a forehand into the top of the net, kind of very casually almost. That was odd. I mean, like looks casual. Probably if you're in the stadium, that's probably hit head net pretty hard. But it looked like he was trying to push off and come in and just didn't quite make the contact right. Feet not quite there. So it's 3-3. Little bit of a replay of what sort of a microcosm of the set in many ways, going up and giving it away instantly.
At the exact same score as well.
Yeah.
3-2 and then 3-3. Mini break at 3-2. So if that holds up, then it's going to be 6-6 without any other mini breaks.
That means we're in for a long tie break, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Strap yourselves in. Here we go.
I think it could be a tight one. Yeah, Fritz is definitely upped his game. I think he's playing well.
Yeah. As Djokovic serves an ace to make it 4-3 and get himself back in the good position in the tie break. We are at Fritz's serve at 3-4. Critical points in this tiebreak. Taylor Fritz serves out wide. Djokovic gets it back in. No, he doesn't get it back in play. It's just long. It wasn't a big serve from Fritz, but Djokovic just puts the foot backhand long, which I would have expected him to make that return.
Yeah, I'm surprised that went out. Like you said, it wasn't the most powerful serve from Fritz, so I thought that would have been quite a straightforward return for Novak, but he just maybe put a little bit too much gas behind it.
I think it was nicely placed into the middle. Like I just don't think Djokovic reacted quickly enough.
That's fair enough. Fritz wins that point as well for 5-4. It's back on the Djokovic serve already. That was some quick points from Fritz. That's going to make his life a lot. He's going to make him a little bit more comfortable now because the pressure's on Novak Djokovic. As Fritz gets that one back into play, Djokovic hits a forehand winner to make it 5-5. Great job, Novak Djokovic.
Damien's
right. We're heading for 6-6, aren't we? Without another mini break.
Our theory is holding up. Yeah, just two more points.
Taylor, Ashley is asking, what's the longest tiebreak, assuming in history? I think in terms of points, I don't know off the top of my head. You're more likely to know, right? You're a bit better on remembering these stats than I am.
What's the longest tiebreak? I mean, it depends. Opelka Brooksby was 24-22, right? This year. I do seem to remember something more crazy, like a 36 something, but I don't think it wasn't at on the main tour.
Yeah, It's 6-5 to Novak Djokovic as he hits a really strong forehand that Fritz can't do anything about, and it's set point to Djokovic. Let's see how Taylor Fritz handles this big point. Gonna talk us through it. Here we go. 55 minutes on the clock. Djokovic is waiting. The crowd's getting into it. They want this to be dramatic. Djokovic is focused. He's looking at Taylor Fritz, who serves out wide, gets it. Djokovic gets it back in play. Forehand Fritz. Djokovic on the run, slides in for the forehand. Fritz kind of hitting backwards on the forehand. Forehand, backhand to backhand rally now. Djokovic slices kind of neutral. Fritz tries to go in the attack with the forehand. Djokovic goes cross court on the forehand. It's really tight. Djokovic goes up the line of the forehand. What a winner to take the set.
Wow.
What a way to win that point. What a way to win the set. Claire, you're loving that, right?
That was incredible. That was brilliant tennis from Djokovic there. The way the ball went down, I mean, he looks exhausted now. Look at him, like that really took it out of him. That was incredible. I feel a little bit sorry for Fritz there that it ended like that, because I think I feel like Fritz is getting into his stride now, and that tiebreak could have gone on a lot longer. But what a point to win the set from Djokovic there, just incredible.
Damien, what do you think of the set as a whole? Oh, go finish your point you were going to make, and then do
the margins were super slim. It was just that 1 point, really, right? At 3-2, when Djokovic broke, we thought that was just going to go comfortably in his way. He sort of led Fritz back into the set, but then Taylor, I think he just did what he could, right? Played a great tiebreak. How did he lose that first mini break? Because I remember the way Djokovic lost it. No, it was also a long point, right? That's Fritz shanked a forehand that went a bit long. Yeah, so pretty much a almost perfect tiebreak from both, really. I mean, Fritz couldn't really do much more in there. And that forehand winner to seal it, of course, has been one of the very, very frequent cases where Djokovic steps up under pressure. And coming back to that tiebreak, I was right about the 36-34, but would not remember who it was. It was an ITF event in Plantation, Florida in 2013. Benjamin Balleret and Guillaume Quillard played a 60-point tiebreaker.
Wow, 60 points.
Wow.
Sorry, 70 points.
70 points.
36-34. I think on the main tour it's like there's been some doubles matches that had tiebreakers like 26-24 at Wimbledon in 1985, but in general, of course, Opelka Brooksby this year was also a record breaker.
Wow.
We are welcoming Peter Childs to the stream. You've been in the comments for the first set, Peter. Nice to have you here. What have you made of the match so far?
I'm shocked that Taylor got to tiebreak, to be honest. I mean, he's good. He's here to the finals. So, I mean, honestly, I thought Novak would pull it off, and he did in spectacular fashion with that forehand. But it's Novak. He's going to do it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, I think, let's face it, that set was kind of, it went how we thought it was going to go. And also, it wouldn't be this year's edition of the ATP finals without a tiebreak at some point. I mean, it was odd that yesterday's evening's match didn't go to a tiebreak. While we're waiting, because it looks like we're kind of waiting for things to kind of get going. Peter, what's been your favorite match from the ATP finals so far?
It's been Medvedev against Rublev. That was good.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, that was so tight, especially in that deciding tiebreak. Claire, what about you?
I just read something interesting. Sorry. Okay, never mind.
No, on you go, Damien. It's fine.
No, I just read something interesting on Twitter, and I just wonder what you guys think. The tweet is that Fritz not being able to win that first set over 50% Djokovic is really not a good look. This was one of the worst sets I've seen in the semifinals of the finals in a long time. I don't know, maybe it's like some sort of a weird commentator effect where for us it didn't really seem like that, did it?
I thought it was like good set tennis.
Yeah.
that was not 50% Novak at all. Like,
yeah.
that's definitely. I'm not saying it's 100%, but I would put this as like 70-75% Novak.
Yeah,
maybe
that's
better.
exactly what I would say, Nick. Exactly. He's clearly not 100%, but he's certainly not. He's not 50%. I think that's harsh.
And also, 50% Novak beats most players on the tour. Like, even still, like I think anyone but the top 10. So, yeah, no, don't agree with that take whatsoever. But hey, if you're tweeting this and if you're watching this, get in the comments, debate with us. We're up for that. Just be nice. And we are starting the second set now as Djokovic is serving. They're into a round now. Djokovic does a drop shot, first drop shot of the match. Fritz comes in. Djokovic tries for a passing shot, but Fritz is equal to it and takes it out with a backhand. Good job. Love 15. Djokovic and drop shots can go either way for him traditionally, doesn't it, Claire?
Oh yeah, I mean we've all seen him make them look ridiculously easy, and we've seen him make them look ridiculously difficult. So it can always go either way.
Who's the most frustrating? This is more of a question for. Actually, I'll go back to Claire because I'm not on this one. But who has the most frustrating drop shot, Djokovic or Murray? Peter, do you want to get
I mean, I think it has to be Andy. It has to be Murray. It has to be. Like, I just feel it's Andy. It's definitely Andy's got the most frustrating. I mean, Andy's got the more frustrating game. Let's be honest.
That is true.
Peter, do you agree with me?
I mean, are we saying frustrating for fans or frustrating for the opponent? I mean, frustrating during the
fans.
He's been pretty good against his opponents. That's where he uses it the most.
Fair. Which is probably the best place to use it, really. I don't know. It's 15:30 now, by the way. I might get Damien's view on the drop shot comparison. So Djokovic goes backhand. They're going to backhand rally again. Djokovic goes up the line this time. Fritz moves to the forehand. Djokovic goes back forehand, that's short. Fritz goes deep on the forehand. Djokovic goes very wide. Oh, Fritz just gets the angle spot on backhand. Djokovic puts it in the net, and it's 15-40. That was a very well played point from Taylor Fritz.
Yeah.
Very well played. Here we go. It's a break point. It's break points against Novak Djokovic, which Fritz has managed to break in before. He has managed to break in before, but that would be an interesting one if Fritz breaks it early on. If Djokovic serves out wide on the first serve, backhand cross court, bit short. Fritz goes really wide. Djokovic goes long on the backhand, up the line. Fritz gets the early break, the boomerang break early on in set 2. Claire, we didn't see that coming.
No, absolutely not. I mean, honestly, I felt with Novak taking the first set, my feeling was he would want the second set to go by a lot quicker. That he wouldn't want to find himself in a tiebreak situation again. So I'm very, very surprised to see him be broken in that first game. But I think it's also an indication of how much Fritz has upped his game since the start of the match as well. And so not to take away from him, because he's playing really well, and actually we could be going to 3 sets now, which I'm really quite excited about. And I now think it's very, very early to call, isn't it? We're only a game into the second set, but if Fritz can hold the serve here and consolidate the break, we're hopefully going to be going to a 3-set match.
That could be interesting. And then maybe the Djokovic physicality question comes back into play. I mean, Damien, to me, it felt like Fritz won that game as he goes for an excellent inside-out forehand winner to open this, to go to 30 love up in his second game of the set, and his opening service game of the set. Fritz has come out firing. I think he's he's put himself in this position more than a Novak lapse. Is that how you're reading it, or do you have a different view?
Yeah, and it's what we talked about after the tiebreak. I mean, since 3-3 in the opening sets, it's basically been like very tight, maybe even a small edge to Fritz, and he really didn't do that much wrong in the tiebreak. It was just Novak coming up with that insane forehand, and that's it. So yeah, that's a very deserved break, and yeah, now it's his job to hold on to it, which of course does not have to be easy, but it's also great for him that he's he stopped, at least for now, he stopped the pressure of Djokovic serving first while being up a set, because that could have been slightly troubling for him if Djokovic landed an early break here in the second set. I think we would have just all thought that this was going to end very quickly, and now Fritz has really turned it around.
Yeah, they're in another long rally at the minute. Djokovic is slicing right now. Fritz going on forehand. Oh, right on the line. And Djokovic puts that out, and it's 40-15.
Wow.
That was, again, another blistering forehand from Taylor Fritz. Damien, it has to be said, I'm now relieved I now know what that red glow was that I could see when you were moving your hands. You're holding...
It's my mouse, yeah.
I was like,
sorry.
Damien has superpowers somehow.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the couch and like have the mouse on the couch, sometimes on the on the pants. So yeah, I'll try to keep it lower.
No, it's fine. It looks cool. It but it makes you look like some kind of magical being. With the
I am a magical being, but I just don't have the the laser vision or whatever that would
be. We're up to 2-0, 2-love now to Taylor Fritz in this early part of the set. Djokovic serving, he's serving pretty positively there. Good serve +1. Fritz couldn't do anything about that forehand, puts it in net. I mean, Peter, at the very least, this set's going to be close, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Novak can come back pretty easily from this.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about that. It's not. It's only one break. It's early on. Djokovic has probably come back from similar positions before, right? So I think Novak fans in the chat, if there are any, no, there are, because we've got Ghibli. No reason to panic yet, unless you're a bit more neutral and prefer a closer match. Good first serve from Djokovic. Fritz puts the return to the net. It's 40-love. So Djokovic has definitely stabilized things, and Fritz can't do anything about that serve either, and it's changed hands.
Great service game from Djokovic there.
Really good.
Right. Going back to our conversation about drop shots earlier, and sort of comparing. I mean, Damien, 2 questions. How would you compare the Djokovic and the Murray drop shot, and who do you think has the best, or which players, like you had to say more than one, currently have the best drop shot on tour right now?
Okay. I mean, I think Djokovic has, like, his drop shot is a little too predictable. It's always that backhand down the line, although he has gotten good at it, and he has gotten good at it by, trials and errors. It wasn't good until, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. Definitely hit a couple of stunners, like the one against Del Potro down a match point. I think Murray is slightly more versatile with the drop shot. There's just less you can really expect in there. Thinking of his drop shots, of course, the Kohlschreiber one in Dubai comes to mind first, which is a good example because it wasn't really a common position to play a drop shot there. Right now, I think probably Djokovic has the better drop shot, but as I said, I just don't like how it's always the same pattern, which makes it a little bit more predictable, and he definitely overuses it a bit sometimes. It's more like a tactic that's maybe isn't very, like, he isn't using it with consistent frequency. He just sometimes decides to go at it really hard, and at times it's not a great choice. Who right now has the best drop shot? Can't really be too original here. I mean, you gotta look for Alcaraz, you gotta look for Musetti. Alcaraz, especially because of how, well, pretty much no one on the tour likes the forehand drop shot more than the backhand one. At least it's it's quite rare, and with the huge bomb that can be going at you from the Alcaraz forehand, you can't really just guess that he's gonna make the drop shot. You have to stay back and try to also get to the ball that he's gonna send at you with a topspin forehand. And yeah, I think that's really makes it probably the best drop shot on the tour right now. Kind of hard to come up with someone otherwise who would be like comparable in the sense that they're using the drop shot a lot. There are a lot of players who execute good drop shots, but don't really go for them that much. But yeah, maybe I'm forgetting something. I don't know. Someone is.
I think Fabio Fognini has a really good drop shot.
Generally, the players who have great touch, right? Who have just excellent hand skills. So, yeah, and Fognini uses it a lot. But this year, I mean, yeah, because of how much Fognini has fallen off, it's it's just kind of hard to mention him in the discussion. But sure, in general, yeah.
I think that's a really good summary. Yeah, that really helps. Clear. I agree with you on the Alcaraz thing. I think the way you use it, because you just can't predict it, is I agree. And Musetti as well. So who knows? Maybe the young guns are bringing the drop shot back into fashion. By the way, Fritz has comfortably held for 3-1. Djokovic is serving again. I mean, Claire, would you agree with that was a comfortable hold?
Oh yeah, it looked really quite straightforward. And apologies everyone for the interruption there.
Don't worry about it. Get him on. We can get another commentator. Start him young.
This happens regularly during a Murray Musings podcast. Peter will be able to confirm.
Yeah, your kids are more into athletics than tennis, aren't they, Claire?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I did try. I tried my best. I tried to be Judy. Tried to be the tennis mum, and they're not interested. They want to go and run cross country through the muddy fields and get absolutely covered head to toe.
Okay.
So you got to take what you can get.
I mean, how do they feel about watching it?
My youngest won't watch it. He won't sit still. He's only 6, so I think he's like I'm not going to sit and watch this. My daughter, who's a bit older, she will come. She came to Davis Cup, but after the first match, which thankfully the first match was at Andy Murray, and he won. After that first match, she started to get a little bit bored. So I managed to hold her attention for 2 sets, which I think I'll take that as a win.
Yeah, that's still pretty good. And look, to be fair, actually that's a good question. Like I would say from my experience, I would have been about your son's age with remembering tennis, and I would go and watch tennis for 5 minutes and then go outside and hit a ball against a wall because I was more interested in trying to do it than sitting and watching it. Again, too much energy. I mean, I can't remember I think that the first time I sort of decided I had the mental headspace to sit down and watch a full match, I probably would have been maybe 12. And that was Murray versus Roddick, 2006, Wimbledon, when Murray announced himself. And I was like, oh, Andy Roddick's good. And this young British guy's just beaten him. This is interesting. I mean, Peter, when would you say it was the age you were able to kind of start fully paying attention to watching a tennis match?
It's definitely in high school when I was really into watching Venus Williams play. So I was around 1999 and 2000.
Okay. Oh yeah, you're Clara about similar ages. We were talking about ages earlier. Not bring that up again. Damien, how old were you when you felt you were starting to pay attention to tennis matches?
Yeah, in 99 I was born, so not back then, that's for sure. No, probably even though I remember watching some Grand Slam matches from 2010, 11, the one that really got me, straight up first point to last was the 2012 Australian Open final.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a long one. I mean, watching tennis for 6 hours was definitely not something I've been doing before then. And then it got solidified by the Olympics semi between Federer and Delpo. And I also watched the final later on. I was already a big Federer fan, and yeah, that was a disappointing experience. That's for sure.
Ooh,
But
yeah.
for many others, it was like the most beautiful day in the
Yeah.
history.
I, as a Federer fan, I was more than fine with Andy Murray winning that gold medal at Wimbledon. It was just it wasn't great to see Federer not quite as good, but I do think Murray kind of bossed that match, to be honest. Absolutely. So yeah, I was more than okay with seeing that result. The Brit in me took over from the Federer fan on that day. But there seems to be a consensus here that 12, 13, early high school age is the ideal start to really getting into a tennis match. I mean, would that be back the same for you, Claire?
I was 10.
Okay.
It was in 1995, and I think it was the Wimbledon final between Steffi Graf and Arantxa Sanchez Vicaro.
Oh yeah, you've mentioned this before.
Yeah, that was really my first foray into tennis. That was my mum forced me to sit down and watch it, and I was like, oh, so boring, you're ruining my life. And then actually it was like the best thing I'd ever seen, and even to this day I plea with everyone to go and find that match on YouTube and watch it if you've not seen it, because it's incredible.
Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my to-do list. There's a lot of matches I need to rewatch. I feel like if this was like 20 years ago, been a bit born 20 years earlier, I probably would have been a Steffi Graf fan. But I don't know. Is that who you backed in that final?
I mean, I didn't back. I wasn't really backing either of them because I didn't know who either of them were at the time. So I was like, oh, I'll support her because she won, so she's obviously amazing.
Which she
so
was.
That's kind of how I became a Steffi Graf fan. That was just a brilliant match to watch. I would definitely recommend it. It does exist on YouTube, and it's grainy and the screen's all pixelated and tiny, but it's worth it. It's worth sitting through 1995 graphics to watch the outcome of that match.
Yeah, I think the only old match I've gone back to watch is Borg McEnroe from 1980, just because of the legendary status of that match. That was quite hard to follow at points because it was even grainier than the 1990s, and they had a playing with a white tennis ball, which just makes it even harder to follow. Yeah, tennis balls didn't turn yellow until the mid 80s because TV said we cannot follow the ball. Before tennis balls used to be white. So, but yeah, I went back and it doesn't really get interesting until the fourth set, to be honest. Sacrilegious, I know, but. Peter, any sort of old matches you recommend people going back to watch?
I mean, old for me would be the Venus and Serena U.S. Open Wimbledon finals. But I did go back, as Claire recommended, to see Steffi and Arantxa, and that was a really good match. Yeah. I mean, given the fact that I knew who won, I was like, okay, let's move it along. But it was still,
That's the problem with watching a tennis match. The result is kind of, let's get to this bit. Tennis is only fun when you don't know who wins. That's part of the beauty of it. Right now, we don't know who's going to win. It's 4-2 to Taylor Fritz, 30-15 on Djokovic's serve. If you were to tell me now that Djokovic wins the next 4 games, then I'm not particularly bothered. If Taylor Fritz wins the next 8, I'm not particularly bothered. Whereas right now, I'm loving not knowing the outcome and how evenly matched they are, despite that early break from Fritz, because he's definitely settled down now.
Yeah.
It's 40-30 with a really good serve from Djokovic. It's very intriguingly poised still. Damien, any? Go on, Claire.
just going to say what you're saying about like the sort of thrill of not knowing the outcome. You know, it's not quite as exciting when you know what the score is. Sometimes it's nice to go back and watch a match that you know, especially if it's your favourite is playing and you know what the outcome is, and it's sort of like almost like a calming thing to go back and watch that match. But I remember the Davis Cup in 2015, and it was Britain versus Australia, and on the day of this was final. It was Britain versus Belgium. And on the day of the doubles rubber, I had to work through in Edinburgh for the day, and I was out all day, and I was like, I'm going to miss this match. And I made sure that I didn't look at social media once. I deleted all tennis apps off my phone so that I couldn't be tempted to check the score. I think I even deleted Google off my phone. I told everyone that I knew to not text me. And I finally got home and I was able to watch the match from the start live, as if it was live. I had no idea what it'd been over for like 3 or 4 hours. So everyone knew, my husband knew what the score was. But that was amazing. It wouldn't have felt quite as exciting if I knew at that point when I started to watch it that GB had won. So yeah, there definitely is. There is a thrill involved, even if you are on catch up, of not knowing.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And I'm the same with any sport. Yeah, it's better. It's the thrill of it to know what you're to not know. And it's very hard with tennis sometimes to not find out. Like, you did the right thing of deleting everything. There's definitely been some matches that I've missed. And I've just ended up seeing the result because there was just no way I could go an entire day without seeing it. Federer winning the 2017 Australian Open, didn't see that live, had to go back and watch that. Actually, I think I did manage to avoid seeing the result for that one. But that was a good day. But yeah, I know what you mean. I need to start doing that. I need to start actively just avoiding results more if I want to catch up.
I think it's really hard to do that just now, you know, because tennis Twitter is such a thing. So like if you want to really avoid the scores, you just have to be like, right, I'm completely off grid today. I'm not going on social media, because if you do, even if you just went on for a split second, that's all it takes. So something flashing, because it has happened to me a couple of times where I've had the score ruined for me, so to speak. I've just been like, well, I may as well just like watch the live scores now, because I kind of know what's happening.
Yeah.
While I'm avoiding one match, there's also like 10 at the same time that I don't want to see later. I want to know the results of them. So it's next to impossible.
Yeah,
if you really want to, it can.
Yeah, really want to do it. Yeah, live scores have their own tension. I remember following Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic at the 2015 was it Montreal final? Watching that live score tip by was tense because I didn't have access to the match to watch it. It's love 30 on Taylor Fritz serve. He's very annoyed with himself. He's made a couple of unforced errors. Good first serve from Fritz and then back behind with a forehand. But critical moments here. I'm sorry to talk over you, Damien. Like, it was a critical moment to bring back to the match.
No. I was already finished, so no worries.
Okay. Try not to talk over people unless there's something the viewers might know what's going on. Anyway, good serve again, but Djokovic gets that back into play. Inside out forehand winner from Fritz to make it 30-all. Get back on level in this game.
Yep, he handled that well.
Yeah, so you're doing well, Claire.
He handled that well. That was a lot of pressure that he was under there, and it just didn't. He didn't look phased at all.
Yeah, two serve plus one winners from Fritz. Really good against someone like Novak, who gets that first serve back into play. Fritz is now at the net. He has to chop for it, and just that great drop volley for 40-30. Yeah, he's handling his game so well, given he was behind. Great job. Absolutely great job. Let's see how this game plays out now. And then I'll come to you, Peter. Yeah, no, just replaying the drop shot in slow motion. Serve ace from Fritz. No, it's Lum. Never mind. Or Lat, I don't know. Looked into me, but camera can be deceiving. Back in play from Fritz. Backhand cross court. Djokovic loses up. Fritz finishes it with a volley at the net. Takes it out of the air. Great job. 5-3. One game away from leveling this match. Peter, are you impressed with Taylor Fritz at the minute?
Yes, definitely. I mean, with the volleys and him saying "let's go" right after he did that volley, it was amazing. I'm honestly shocked, impressed. I thought Novak would just take this home.
Yeah, if he still could. Oh, he's a bit too casual with that volley. And it's love 15. That would be a twist if he loses the set by a double break.
Yeah.
There was a similar, 2019 ATP finals when he played Federer. There were a couple of similar moments where he was hitting like casual volleys like that, and it usually meant that his motivation wasn't really there for the game, of course. Yeah, and I think we are seeing this right now. Like maybe he is also physically down. I don't know. But this is we've seen Djokovic do that a few times, like when he's behind in a score and he's just not really focused on the next couple of points. And yeah, the two that he's just hit were just fully that.
Unbeatable backhand though from Djokovic up the line, 15-30, as kind of is the norm for him. I mean, that 2015 match you referred to, Damien, you talk about...
I was talking about 2019.
Sorry,
2019 when he fell down a break in the second set. I think he was broken to end the match even, and there was like a very lame serve and volley attempt. I can't remember any other exact, I can't remember any other specific examples, but it's happened for Djokovic over the years, I think.
Taylor Fritz missed an attempt at a running forehand, and it's back to 30 all. I mean, it was going to be a tricky shot, but he would have been an absolute hero if he pulled that off. Yeah, I see what you mean. I do agree with you, Damien. I think we have definitely seen Djokovic kind of dip and not put effort in. I think he probably regretted not putting more effort into that 2019 round robin match because he ended up going out in the group stage. Because who else did he lose to?
I mean, that was the last match. That was the last match, so he knew that.
Oh, yeah. That was a weird loss. Great for me as a Federer fan, but it was a weird loss.
A weird loss. Yeah, the last couple of games he was very out, not mentally where he should have been. But in general, it was, I think, just probably the last godlike Federer performance.
Yeah. Oh, I'm definitely rewatching that then. So deuce, actually, because Djokovic just put a forehand into the net. So this is the first deuce we've had for a while in the match. Djokovic is serving to try and extend the set, try and put pressure on Taylor Fritz to serve it out. Puts the first serve into the net. This is definitely a more lackluster game for Djokovic, but he had some good shots in there as well. Yeah, this is an odd one. As a bit of a body serve in the second serve, backhand short from Djokovic. Fritz scoops it up, backhand up the line. Djokovic, forehand Fritz. They're kind of keeping it short at the minute. Djokovic off the top of the net. Fritz has to come in. Backhand Fritz. Djokovic, passing shot winner. Up the backhand.
Wow.
Up the line. Yeah. Up the backhand was an interesting misspeak there. Anyway, with advantage to Novak Djokovic in this game. He's had a bit of a tough one. This might give Taylor Fritz. Let's see how it affects Taylor Fritz going forward. Puts the first serve into the net again. Djokovic. Bringing in for bouncing the ball, trying to finish this off. Again, goes a bit more out wide, bit short, kind of keeping this neutral at the minute. Fritz kind of goes into the corner with the forehand, moving Djokovic around now with the forehand, but he's gone long and it's game to Djokovic. 5-4. Yeah, Claire, I think Djokovic kind of dug himself out of trouble there a little bit.
Yeah, in a way that Novak Djokovic does. He would not have wanted to lose the set there on his serve, determined to make Fritz serve it out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's breathing kind of heavily, don't you?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Yeah.
Yep.
Like for the last 2 games or something like that. Well, the
Peter.
good aspect for him is definitely that if he loses the set now, he's gonna serve first in the third set. Whereas if Fritz broke here, it would have been Fritz serving first.
That's true. That is definitely true. Which, I mean, let's face it though, didn't help Djokovic serving first this set, but I feel like the start of the next would be a little different. Yeah, Peter, how confident are you in Fritz serving this one out?
Honestly, not confident.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same.
Like Novak has stepped it up just a little bit more and said, "Hey, you know, I'm gonna have to win it."
Yeah,
I just you
Okay.
cannot write Novak Djokovic off. You can't.
No.
I don't believe that he will lose a match until the final point is played. To be honest with you.
I mean, he has that
So-
reputation, doesn't he? I mean, he's come back from match point down against Roger Federer in 3 big matches. He nearly ruined Andy Murray's life at Wimbledon 2013. He's the kind of player who will.
It was still a long way back.
I was going to say, I think 2013 is a bit of a stretch, given that Murray was serving
Oh, he would have
for
got
it.
And
in the
Djokovic
third
was
set.
Djokovic was very mediocre in that final as overall.
No, excuse me, Damien. I will not hear that. I will not accept that.
Oh dear, what have I started? Well, look, all I will say is that I think Djokovic probably would have won that set if he'd broken, and then it would just made life a lot harder for Andy in that match. Maybe not ruined it, but it would have made it less emphatic. But anyway, we're into 15-love Taylor Fritz after a positive opening point. They're into a rally now, backhand to backhand, fairly neutral. Fritz goes to the forehand. Neither of them are really going that wide or that deep. Djokovic takes that on a little bit short. Backhand, Fritz has to pick up a sort of a deep one for Djokovic. He's kind of going on attack with the backhand, and Fritz puts that backhand long, kind of forced into an error there by just some pressure gradually rising from Djokovic until he puts it into an awkward position, and it's 15 all. Pressure building from Novak. Yeah. I mean, Dane, what are your thoughts on that rally?
Yeah, I think this is another one we saw a couple of these in the first set, where if they really start going cross court and no one is trying to hit the slice, Djokovic actually has like just so much more pop and so much more depth on his backhand, and he's eventually able to draw out the error. It goes a little flatter as well. That's probably what he should be looking for here. Although, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about the last hour or so, Fritz has definitely been the better player.
Fritz is going to be hoping for short points then, and he keeps that one short to go 30-15 up. Djokovic gets the first serve back. Djokovic goes up the line with a forehand, backhand. Fritz again, they're keeping it into the middle, keeping it neutral. Djokovic gets the forehand. Fritz moves to go to his forehand. They're going forehand to forehand now. Djokovic goes up the line with his forehand to the Fritz backhand, drops it short. Djokovic forehand. Fritz goes cross court. They're going cross court in front. Fritz then chases out the line. Djokovic slices. Fritz picks it up on the backhand. Djokovic goes up the line with the backhand. Fritz cross court forehand. Djokovic on the line of attack is really trying to take control of the round now. Chases it up with a slice. Inside out forehand Fritz. Backhand up the line. Novak Djokovic is just too good, and Fritz can't do anything about it. And it is 30 all. Tense times in Turin, ladies and gentlemen. Tense times in Turin. Claire, that's a typical Novak Djokovic rally, isn't it? That was so well constructed.
Yeah, just pushing, persisting, not just refusing to back down, and forcing Taylor to make the mistake in the end.
Yeah, pushing so much Jessica Pegula hates to watch. And
it's a little too much of a pusher there, but he got that point in the end.
He did. Fritz bungles the backhand. Puts it at the top of the net, had a teed off for a winner, and puts it into the high part of the net. And instead of a set point, it's break point now.
Wow. Oh, he will if he will be furious with himself if this is the turning point in this set. Wow.
He's complaining about something, but I'm also watching on mute, so I'm not sure about what.
I
Yeah.
think he just complained about the fact he missed the shot, and
No,
I
I
mean,
think he was talking to the umpire there, but I'm not sure. Maybe
we'll have to
not.
see.
I don't know.
Oh, it's a second serve as well. Puts their first serve into the net. That's not good for Fritzy.
He's frustrated.
Puts the second serve in. Backhand. Djokovic back into play. They're going backhand. Fritz goes forehand. Djokovic forehand up the line. Fritz backhand cross court. Djokovic slices cross court. Fritz up the middle on the forehand. Djokovic forehand up the line. Fritz again just drops the forehand short. Slice. Fritz is kind of on the defense, can't deal with Novak mixing up the pace. Again, another slice from Novak. Deep. Fritz tries to pick it up but goes long on the backhand, and we are back at 5-all. Wow. Well,
Can I draw your attention, please, to the smug face of Peter Childs right now, because he said it. He didn't think he'd be able to serve it out, and I think it's exactly how Djokovic. Well, it's not exactly how Djokovic planned it. I don't think he wanted to be a breakdown, but this is how he would have seen it going there as well.
Yep, this is how he comes back.
Yep. I think I can't see now. This is it. Djokovic will pick up his game. That Djokovic is about to do Djokovic things.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's. I mean, Damien, that shot selection on the backhand that set up that break point for Djokovic that Fritz missed and put it in the top of the net. Was that the? I mean, I think that was the wrong shot selection. I don't think he should have gone up the line. I think he should have gone cross court. I mean, what do you think?
Which point? 30-30?
30-all, yeah, 30-all point.
I mean, Djokovic was clearly moving cross court there, so I think he was just heading to the open space, really.
Yeah, no, I can see why he did it because he's going to the open space. But
I think he had to. I don't know. A drop shot would have been safer, but
yeah.
When you have a ball like that, I mean, you kind of have to hit it, even if it's from the backhand, which just mechanically is, of course, a high ball like that is a lot tougher. But still, I mean, if you have a shot like that at 30-30, and if you go for it, you just, I don't know, you can't really be angry at yourself. This is a shot you have to make 95% of the time, right? And it's been a very average Djokovic performance, I would say. But whenever there's a chance like for Fritz to actually win a set, he's raised his level massively. Whether it was the first set tiebreak and whether it was this game, because of course we will remember that 30-30 point for Fritz, which you just mentioned. But the last two long rallies in there were pretty much perfectly played from Djokovic. Exactly what he needed to do. Found that little bit of open space when he knew that Fritz was not going to cover the forehand corner in the third point of the game. Well, fourth point of the game, and in the sixth, just another expertly played rally. So, yeah.
I think this is the thing about Djokovic, though. You know, even when he's beatable, he's pretty unbeatable.
He's not,
because you know, like he picks up, like you said, Damien. He can play average for 90% of the match, but he will pick up his game at the points where it's really needed and do what he has to do. And that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah, he's just held for 6-5 in the set. Yeah, I mean, an average Djokovic performance beats most players. Let's be honest. And because he has that ability, Claire, to just pick it up when he needs to, he can just rally with you and stay in the match. Any player, even Roger and Rafa, even Andy, he can do that. So, yeah, I think
he's done it to Andy more than once. Just when we thought we've had him. Oh, Fritz will be furious with himself. Absolutely furious.
For sure. I mean, okay, Peter, you actually predicted the last Fritz service game. Think we're going to a tiebreak, or is this going to be 7-6, 7-5?
Oh no, we're not going to a tiebreak. It's going to be 7-5.
We all knew what you were going to say. Honestly, we were expecting this answer.
I would tend to agree with that because I think Fritz is so irritated now by what's happened that he's going to let it. He's going to let it get into his head a little bit, and Novak's fired up. He wants it finished.
Yeah. To be fair, I think even if it does go to a tie-break, I think Djokovic has got the tie-break.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, as he's slow motion.
Why are they showing it in slow motion?
I don't. I mean, that's not
For the Novak fan.
That's not the speed that he does it in real life.
Actually, I think he could do it at that speed in real life. I reckon he's practiced that.
Like every Novak Djokovic sponsor is like clipping that to use in all of their adverts. Yelena's probably saving that for later. As body serve from Fritz yields a point to go 30 love up. So positive start for him. He's got to put that other last service game behind him. A little bit of a lapse has evened it all up. Tries to get up the middle, misses, challenges it though. That was. I think if we are going to a tie break, how close do you think it's going to be, Damien? It's going to be another.
It's well documented that Djokovic doesn't make unforced errors in a tiebreak. I mean, he had this one in the opener at 3-2 up, right? That forehand into the net that he didn't get quite clean, but still, it's hard not to favor him, especially when we compare how the two have performed under pressure. And that's maybe a little harsh on Fritz because he didn't do much wrong in the opening tiebreak, but in that game at 5-4, both that serve plus one backhand and also just giving Djokovic exactly what Djokovic wants on a couple of points too many. So hard not to favor Djokovic.
I thought, that was Djokovic has challenged a backhand that he hit up the line at the stretch that has been called out. If it's in, brilliant Djokovic shot.
Yeah.
If it's out, not by much, but it's out.
The camera angle
challenged.
made it tough to to see from where we were.
I hate that particular camera angle that's really low behind the server. I find that the most frustrating camera angle to watch.
I actually love it. But I totally understand why people don't like it. I just would much rather have such good view of the footwork, the swings, also the way the ball travels through the air, rather than see all the lines clearly. I also totally get why people don't like it. But if I had the choice, I'd probably be watching most of my tennis from that angle. And that's also like if ever there's a choice at a tournament where to sit. If there are stands both at the sides and behind the players, I always go behind the players, the lowest row possible.
I was going to say I agree with being behind the players, but
just
I
not
wouldn't
as low.
want to be. I wouldn't want to be as low as that.
Yeah. Well, we are now at a tie-break, ladies and gentlemen, as Fritz manages to hold despite Djokovic's best efforts.
Despite Peter's prediction.
You can't get everything right.
No.
Okay, Peter, how do you see this tie-break going?
Novak.
I mean, by how much?
Comfortably, but he's winning it. They'll pull it out somehow.
I feel like whatever question we would ask you, the answer would be Novak's winning.
Damien, do you think Novak's winning?
7-3.
I just said that like a couple of points back that I believe so as well, but I've just noticed a bit of a pattern.
If in doubt, back Novak. It's the same if you're watching Rafa. If in doubt, back Rafa.
Yeah,
and
that's a reasonable strategy for sure. And like over the years, it would bring you a lot of success.
I would have said if in doubt, back Roger, but most years that would be the case. But apart from certain points towards the end, if in doubt, back Murray. way too stressful.
Absolutely not. If you're a neutral and you've never seen these two players play before, and you're like, oh, I think I'll back this guy Andy Murray. He looks good. Do not do it. Don't choose Andy. If in doubt, don't choose Andy unless you're an absolute obsessive like me and Peter.
Peter, what are you hearing this, that Claire is telling people not to back Andy Murray?
Yes. And I'm silently agreeing.
The thing about it is, if you start backing him once, that's it. You're hooked. You have to back him all the time, and you know it's the emotional trauma that comes with it that I wouldn't advise people to get involved in. So,
and the heartache,
especially at this point in time, you know, maybe 10 years ago. Anyway, Djokovic's got a mini break here.
Yeah. 2-1. Yeah, if you're a Djokovic fan, you're definitely not suffering too much emotional distress, especially after seeing him come back. Forehand inside out, Djokovic backhand. He's just peppering the Taylor Fritz backhand. He tries to go alive with a winner.
Wow.
What a winner for Taylor Fritz to even out the tiebreak at 2-2. He just snatched that. He just snatched that back.
And the way he screamed out afterward, he knew that was going to be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also just like to do a little bit of a shout out of appreciation for Taylor's girlfriend, the fabulous Morgan. We are big fans of Morgan over at Murray Musings HQ.
She's amazing.
Right. Okay, we may need to. Okay, regardless of the outcome of this set, we're going to talk about this because I have questions. But it's 3-2 Djokovic. Taylor Fritz is now serving. It's on serving the tiebreak to try and sort of make it 3-3 at the change of ends. Yeah, it's pretty finely poised. I think Taylor Fritz has definitely put himself back into this. He's going to be feeling a bit more confident after that backhand winner still, and he's served unreturnable for 3-3. They're changing sides in the tiebreak. So I will just ask, okay, what is the fuss about Morgan? Because I genuinely don't get it.
Okay, so I actually met her at Wimbledon. I had a chance to like go and chat with her. I always quite liked her. I like her energy and her whole just like make tennis cool again. And she seems like quite okay. She's you know, she's got that kind of like LA type vibe going on, but she does seem like I think she seems like a nice person. I saw her at Wimbledon. I went over and said hello to her. Not quite sure what came over me, to be honest, but I had a really nice chat with her and she was really lovely, just chatting away and saying how much she was enjoying being in the UK, enjoying being in London. Taylor was playing really well and she was like just literally just wandering around Wimbledon on her own, just having a great time with her Pims. And that's the kind of person that I would vibe with, you know, like she's quite happy. So she's actually and I get annoyed when I see people making comments about her on social media, particularly in relation to her appearance. You know, she's actually a really, really nice person.
Yeah, she's so personable. And when I went to Indian Wells in October, she was just so happy to be there with her little tennis skirts on, and she was just like, I'm just here for the tennis and just to make tennis cool. Like on TikTok, she's like, let me do the get ready with me's, and like this is how all of the cities are playing, and she makes it fun to be someone who watches tennis, and that's what's good for tennis. And it's going to be good to see what she's going to be like on the Netflix special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be on that, isn't she? Well, she's probably loving this right now. It's 4-4. Djokovic up the line with the backhand, going to the Taylor Fritz forehand and peppering that, but Fritz is getting everything back. Now it goes to the backhand. Djokovic is at the net, tries to finish off, goes back behind Fritz with the backhand, and it's 5-4. Fritz about to serve. Yeah, okay, I can understand. Now I get it. Because if Morgan is someone who's actually personable and, you know, it actually feels like a tennis fan to talk to, then yeah, she's going to engage a lot of people. And I don't suppose she gets a lot of it, like players' partners don't get go up and spoken to a lot, especially if they're not well-known players. So I suppose it was nice for her as well, just to have a chat with someone, but also have a chat with another tennis fan, which is nice to see that she's really into it. As we're going into another rally, right on the baseline from Djokovic, forehand from Fritz cross court, forehand up the line, Djokovic, backhand Fritz, slice Djokovic. Again, he's just doing to Fritz, this kind of moving everyone around. Forehand Fritz, back and Djokovic, scooped up by Fritz, forehand Djokovic, forehand Fritz cross court, forehand up the line Djokovic, backhand cross court Fritz, Djokovic slides into it. Fritz drop shots him, Djokovic gets in. Fritz goes up the line, but Djokovic gets it at the net. Fritz catches him though. Djokovic, oh, what a rally this is. Fritz takes it out the air and Djokovic can't reach it. He just won the best rally of the match by far.
Hands down, that was incredible.
Go find that rally on social media after this, because that was incredible. The crowd are standing on their feet. What a moment. I could not take my eyes off that. It just went mental. Both players could have won that. Oh, what a moment. I think we've lost Damien. That or he's gone to the dark side.
I am here.
You look really dark there.
Yeah, I mean, when I started this, there was still light before. Behind the window, there was still light when I started it. And yeah, now it's simply 4 p.m. for me. And yeah, I have to get up, but I don't want to get up before this tiebreak ends. So
no, I don't blame you after that rally. And Djokovic is at the net again. He finished it with a backhand to take the mini break. And now he's going to sell the set point. Now he's geeing up the crowd. That was a really good point from Novak.
Match point.
Yeah, match point. Oh, I mean, following that up with another really strong point, Novak really took control of it off the return. I think he's let Taylor have his fun, but now he's done. He wants to finish this. Let's see how cold and clinical Novak Djokovic can be to close this out, and how much emotion he's going to show at the end of this. That's going to be an interesting moment to see what kind of celebration, because you've got a nice variety of Novak Djokovic celebrations to look forward to. Puts the first serve into the net. Yeah. He's going to go. So the question is he going to look like the man, or is he going to extended grunt? Where's he going to go with the celebration? Or is he going to celebrate? Is he not going to take this match point? Second serve, Fritz puts the return short, and Djokovic goes long with the backhand. 6-6.
That was sloppy.
No, that was not what I expected.
Yeah, that was.
I don't think
really
Goran expected that either, by the look on his face.
Yeah, that was a weirdly short return from Fritz, and Djokovic could have done anything we wanted with it, and he put it over the baseline.
Yeah, he had to generate all the pace himself, and just.
Was that a smart return by Fritz, or was that just what he could do off that serve?
I think it was just what he could do.
Yeah, I don't think it was on purpose, no.
Yeah, that's how I read it, but then I was just second guessing myself.
It would have been a very clever shot on purpose, that's for sure. Like generally, varying depth is probably more important than most players realize. But that I don't think that was on purpose.
Damien coming to us from the darkness of Poland as inside out forehand from Djokovic, and set himself another match point, but this time on the Fritz serve. Sorry to Polish people, I don't actually think that about Poland. It's
no, I mean I have my drapes closed, so that's also why it's so dark. But still, even with the drapes closed at 2 p.m. it was enough light. It's not anymore.
But the voice from the darkness continues to speak.
It's how you just randomly light up and then it was dark again.
Yeah, because I'm changing.
Point. Oh, it's over. It's over. Fritz balloons the forehand long off the +1, and Djokovic wins.
Quite
7-6.
a muted celebration from Djokovic as well.
Yeah, wasn't any of this. That's Djokovic's. Is that Djokovic's boys celebrating?
It's one of them. The older one is Djokovic's son. I'm not sure who the younger kid is.
But they're very well. Stefan Djokovic is very pleased to see his dad win. He's celebrating harder than his dad. Djokovic is kissing the court. He's kissing the crowd. Yeah, sorry, that was a bit of an anticlimactic end to that match a little bit.
It was, wasn't it? I think it's because we weren't actually expecting that to happen straight away on Fritz's serve. We just weren't really paying attention.
Yeah, we thought maybe we'd extend the match a little bit, get to 7-all, but yeah, that I know it was a bit lackluster, but maybe it makes sense that ends with a bit of a Fritz on forced error, just couldn't deal with the pressure Djokovic was throwing at him. That kind of might summarise the match.
He's disappointed in himself, like he's shaking his head, and yeah, he actually looks very upset walking off court, Taylor Fritz.
Yeah, you could certainly make a case then that he was like the better player for at least half the match, really.
Yeah,
so that's why he's going to be upset.
Yeah, he was more. I feel like throughout that match as a whole, there, although Taylor didn't play amazing, I would say his level and consistency was a bit better than Novak's. You know, Novak had definitely more peaks and troughs throughout the match, but he was peaking at the key moments, and that's what turned the match for him.
That's what champions do. And
exactly. Yeah, that's why Novak Djokovic has got 21 Grand Slams under his belt.
Yeah, I don't think Fritz really could have done much more other than perform in the most important points. But in general, I think he played what he could today.
Yeah, he'll be frustrated now, but when he looks back on it, he'll realise how well he played and how well he did. I mean, you could see he could probably think maybe. I mean, do you think Taylor Fritz thinks he could have won that match?
Yes,
I think he'll be ruining that that game that he served to take the set and got broken. He'll rue that loss, because I do think if Fritz had taken the second set, his confidence would have soared and he would have truly believed in himself going into the third.
Mm-hmm.
He probably still wouldn't have won it, but I think he would have really, his belief in his chances would have increased significantly if he'd taken the second set. And I think he'll go back and he'll analyse that game where he served for it and look at where he went wrong, or look at where Djokovic just outsmarted him.
Yeah, it's possibly true. Yeah, probably true. It's that I think given time it'll sting a little bit less, because you're right, it is Novak Djokovic, and there were points where Djokovic was the better player. I definitely don't think he was at 50%. He wasn't like peak Djokovic or anywhere near it, but he was the Djokovic that needed to come out. He was solid, kept himself in it, broke to get back into the second set. It was a Novak Djokovic performance that you would kind of come to expect from him on a standard day.
Yep.
Right, you're nodding, Peter.
Yep, definitely.
Definitely.
And I mean, of course, Novak would pull it out just at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You had the belief. You had the belief that we at times lacked. You always knew that Djokovic was going to raise his level. We sometimes had some doubts, but clearly, the same thing happened as in the past 15 years. And then, tough to say much more, really.
I find it odd that Peter's the one who seems to retain belief in Novak Djokovic.
Yeah. All the years of
times, I'll just say that.
And I stand by what I said at the beginning, that I feel like Fritz has the best chance out of the rest of the competitors to take out Djokovic. Can't really see it happening for either Ruud or Rublev. He's gonna get another. At which hour is the final tomorrow? Like, I don't know, like 23 hours of rest. The second semifinals will have to play at 7 p.m. local time, which by the way is 9 p.m. 9 p.m. right?
Yeah, 9.
Which
9.
by the way is ultra stupid. Like,
yes.
How can you do that? I think it's something that Turin introduced, right? In London, it was like the two semifinals were, or maybe not.
London
I'm
was
sure.
8 p.m., so they're kind of keeping it on the same time zone
But
as it
so
would be.
the same, but the first semi was also so much earlier.
No, it was still like it started at 8 p.m. UK time, which
I think they were closer to each other, right? Like I don't know. It just seems so stupid and so unfair to have one final be played at
Oh, I
2
see. You mean
p.m.
the double semi. Oh, I see. What you mean. Oh, yeah, the gap between the singles. Yes, no, the London ones used to start at 2 p.m.
No, from what I see, it's usually it was usually 6 hours between them. So yeah, almost as stupid as here. I just don't think it's fair. I don't think it's really it's something that can be so easily avoided. You just not you might just not do like evening session, day session on Saturday, or maybe do doubles in the day session and evening session singles. And yeah, right now for either Rud or Rublev, it's just gonna be like it's 5 hours until the match starts, so it's gonna be more like 7 hours less of rest than Djokovic, which is why I think the slight physical issues that we saw today are probably not going to come into the equation that much. And yeah, they both have awful matchups with Djokovic, really.
Yeah, I think I agree with you about the timing. I agree with you with the matchups. Neither of them match up against Djokovic, especially in these conditions. With, I guess, I guess in the chat, guys, those of you who are still watching us, get involved. Tell us what you think of the match. Tell us what you think of the match coming up tonight. How Djokovic is going to do in the final. Your thoughts on the timing of Turin. Give us. We're happy to talk about it with you guys. It's not just the four of us. All right, Peter, how do you see tonight's semi-final playing out between Casper Ruud and Andrei Rublev?
I think Andre, as Stefano said, he's got a few tools to beat Casper. And I think Casper is a brick wall. I think Casper can win it. Honestly, I'm a Casper fan. I love both of them, but I prefer Casper to win it. I feel like he has a better chance against Novak for some weird reason. I don't know. Maybe I'm just hopeful. Maybe I'm just delusional on that. But I think Casper can win it. I don't know if it's going to be straight sets or not, but I think he'll come through.
Okay. I see. Casper's got a little bit more to his game. Claire, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it will be Casper in 3.
Casper in 3?
Yeah, I actually, admittedly, I've not seen much of either of them playing this week. But I just based on previous performances and how Rublev can react under pressure at times, I think it'll be Casper in 3 sets.
Yep.
Okay. Damien?
Tough to say. I mean, before the event, I would have gone Rublev for sure. Ruud has certainly shown that even in such a highly competitive scenario as the ATP finals, the 8 best players in the world on a surface he doesn't really like, he's able to still contend and qualify for the semifinals for the second time. But I think I still have to go like with the player that I think has the higher peak level in these conditions. The match against Tsitsipas probably wasn't long enough to really drain Rublev ahead of this one. And yeah, after seeing him come through a group that was so tough, I have a lot of belief in Andrei Rublev right now. But we shall see. He obviously lost to Ruud last year, but I don't think he was playing that well. That week, even though a lot of his draw was actually similar because he also played Djokovic, also played Tsitsipas. But yeah, I think he's playing slightly better right now, and I think in the group stage in general, he was much better than Ruud, just in terms of their level. Head to head, I mean, it's 4-1, but they only played indoors once in the aforementioned ATP Finals 2021. So I don't really think we can we can take much from it.
No, but then again, you could also say that Rublev has beaten that most of other meetings have been on clay, which is Casper's favourite surface. Rublev having earlier on in his career.
Yeah, I mean, Ruud wasn't really a top player yet, right? Rublev from 2020 onwards was.
I'm with you, Damien, though. I think I'm favouring Rublev to come through tonight for exactly the same reasons. He did well in the group. He's probably playing better. He's got more momentum from beating Tsitsipas last night compared to Ruud, who lost to Nadal. I think he's definitely showed a bit more peak level during the event. And I think that head-to-head, whilst people do kind of say a lot of it's not relevant, I think there's still something to it. A lot of people said that the match between Ons Jabeur and Caroline Garcia at the US Open semi-final, the head-to-head wasn't relevant going into that. And yet Jabeur proved that she's a nightmare matchup for Garcia in that situation. So I am picking... I'm definitely picking Andrei Rublev to win tonight. So it's currently 2-2. Let us know in the comments what you think, how you think that's playing out. But yeah, in terms of the final, I don't rate either their chances much of beating Djokovic. I mean, history does show that half the time round robin results are reversed. But I think given the matchup between Djokovic and Rublev, I don't see that happening in this case. Peter, you're nodding along to that.
Yeah, I don't see it happening either. And I mean, I'll just say it like this. It's unfortunate that Novak is going to win just another title, but I mean, he's going to get 91 titles after this, right? So, yeah. I mean, it's inevitable, in my opinion.
I mean, for me, though, in some ways, it's almost appropriate that Djokovic wins the ATP finals because that's probably going to be the biggest points haul he's got from the year because Wimbledon didn't count. And given that he's not be able to play for half the year, he still wins half the tournaments he's involved in, and he ends up beating the other best players in the world. And sort of this would re-establish himself as the main man going into 2023. Restart and give him some really decent momentum. So yeah, for me, I think it would almost I could see this being a significant and appropriate result for Djokovic to win this title and take a sixth title at the end of season championships. So I think we'll go into final thoughts. I don't think there's much else we can really discuss. Claire, final thoughts from you on the match, on how it played out, and where this leaves Djokovic going forward.
So overall, I thought it was a decent tennis match. There was some really beautiful tennis played at points. Djokovic clearly not at his best, but as ever does more than enough to get himself through. I feel a bit sorry for Fritz. I think he had his chances. He just couldn't quite capitalise on Djokovic's weaknesses in that match. Unfortunately for him, Djokovic could absolutely capitalise on Fritz's weaknesses. I think I do find it quite hard to see past Djokovic winning the tournament completely now. I think my view is that Casper will win tonight. I think Djokovic will beat Casper. Like you say, it sets him up for a good 2023. He's allowed back to Australia. It wouldn't surprise me entirely if he was lifting slam number 22 at the end of January next year.
Yeah. Oh, definitely wouldn't surprise me either. I think he's a heavy favourite for that. Peter, final thoughts on today's match?
Pretty much again, it's inevitable, like I was saying earlier, that he's just going to win that tiebreak if it went to a tiebreak, and he did. I don't see Casper winning against Novak, even though I want it. Even though a part of me needs somebody else to be like, hey, Novak, you've won a few titles here. Just give it to someone else. But he's not going to give it to anyone else. No matter what, Novak's going to do what Novak's done before.
Yeah, I think that's about right. And final, I will give the final word to Damien before I close the stream.
Yeah, I got up to show you that we do have electricity in Poland. Yeah, I just don't see Djokovic losing to either Rud or Rublev. I think today was the last chance for him to lose realistically. He was a bit down physically again, but yeah, as I said, with like 23 hours until the final, I think he's going to define. The matchups are terrible for either player. I think the ATP finals were definitely encouraging for Fritz as well. Once again proved himself when it comes to just battling the elite, and that's really something that he needs to think of going into 2023. I hope he has this on his mind. And yeah, the loss, even though painful, was pretty much only based by a few pressure points here or there. I think even if we're gonna look at like total points won today, it's probably gonna be so close. Like, I don't know, not more than 5 or not more than 6, 7 for Novak. I have to check it. Oh, actually, no, it's actually a bit of an edge, 84 to 73. I guess there were more comfortable Novak holds than there were comfortable Fritz holds. But anyway, I mean, yeah, he just lost this match by not being able to perform in a few key moments, or actually Djokovic just stepping up. So yeah, there's definitely lots to like in terms of what Fritz showed on the court today.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I think best summary I can come up with. Well, we hope you enjoyed the match or enjoyed watching along with us or listening to us describe it to you if you couldn't catch it. It's been great fun being with you guys. Claire, excellent debut on comms.
Thank you.
And Damien, fantastic analysis as always. Peter, always great to chat tennis with you. And I will love you and leave you. Tonight, we are covering that other semi-final of Casper Ruud against Andrei Rublev. John is going to be back in the commentator's seat, and he's going to be alongside Miles David and Ashley Woods for our coverage of tonight's match, and then also join us for the final tomorrow at 6 p.m. at which the team for that is going to be John, myself, and the wonderful Jack Edward.
Awesome.
And I'll see you tomorrow. Enjoy the match tonight. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks for stopping by, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button.